It
that
sounds like a
whole
dream.
hospitality. Yeah,
It was hard to
a dream.
leave.
It
Yeah,
was
well,
really
that's what I was going to say.
it was
Why
hard to
would you leave?
right.
Because there was one box that was not checked, and it wasn't going to get checked unless we left, and that was to open a restaurant.
Where did that inkling come from? Was that the intention all along? Like, go to culinary school, start your own restaurant?
Yes, until
I didn't realize that.
That was kind of like all along was like that was the goal, was to open my own restaurant, and then we get to Lake Martin, and it's like, why would we leave here? This is amazing.
Yeah.
But work started to become, it was the things that the hours that I was putting in and the work that I was doing and the struggles that I still have today, but I needed to own those struggles. They needed to be mine at the end of the day. And I feel like one of the biggest compliments that people would pay when leaving was that you ran Spring House like it was yours, but I didn't really and I thought that I was, but you really never know what it's like to run your own business until it's your own business. Right. There's a lot of things that I look back now and I go, they didn't talk to me about that.
Right.
And that's fine. They were insulating me from that, and I didn't really need to know that. But really at Springhouse, I mean, I'd been there and I'd started doing a devotional at Springhouse and before I started my day. So I would get there, I'd make coffee, turn lights on, open doors, do the thing, and then go and sit down and I would do a devotional. And March 14th, 2018, sat down, opened my devotional, and it was Deuteronomy 1:6. God spoke to the people of Horeb and said, "You have dwelt on this mountain long enough." And to me, I heard, "You have dwelt at Lake Martin long enough."
Right.
And on this mountain, Springhouse. And
what he was doing was not sustainable, right? Like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. with a young family and having all that stress, yes, but when it's not your own.
Right.
It's like, yeah, and I didn't really realize it at the time,
Right.
And there's certain things that I love it there. I love that restaurant. I mean, I just it's just amazing. But there were things that were not going to be fulfilled if I did not continue.
Yeah, I feel like that's there's the idea of creative destruction where like you have to kind of destroy something that might be good to make something even better. There's like that refining process, I feel like that's one of the challenges of like going throughout your career is like there's a place that's grown you and you've grown with it and it's invested so much in you and there's a perception that people leave jobs because something bad happened at the old job, but that might not necessarily be the case. It's just that like there's more growing to be done.
I'm a firm believer that my success is due to the freedom that I was given by Russell Lands and to run Springhouse like I owned it.
Yeah. And
I was given very few parameters. It was an amenity to what they were building around the lake. And, it was challenging from a business standpoint because it's really kind of in the very beginning, you've got kind of 3 months from Memorial Day to Labor Day of where you're making most of your money. And then you got the ebb and flow of, employees and having to back off in the wintertime and stuff like that. So, but that allowed me to experiment and cook on my own and do things. And so when I started thinking about doing our own place, I was like, that in order for people, I want our employees to come to work and feel that they can come and they're given the opportunity to experiment and do their own things as well. And they're pushing their limits and we're pushing limits to grow. But I don't think that in my method anyway of growth, me coming in and dictating what everybody's day is going to look like is the best way for us to grow the way that I want to run our business. I want people to come in and be happy and be excited about a challenge that they put on themselves, not one that I've put on them. Because I feel like they're going to do the research and they're going to put the time in to figure out how that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's not to say they're not going to make a mistake, and I welcome mistakes because that's how we grow.
Right.
Is by making mistakes. And I don't yell at people. I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Rob does have a unique leadership style.
Yeah.
The chefs are notoriously known to have, sort of a hothead, or they can be, right? Not Birmingham, but just worldwide
Generally,
or nationwide.
yeah.
Generally,
Stereotypically.
they're coming in, they're yelling, their pots and pans are flying, and it's quite, the opposite. Even the way that we communicate at home, it wouldn't work if someone's yelling and the other person's, because it just doesn't. And so if you want to teach people and let them grow and find the potential and invest in young chefs and young, servers and what they can do, you can't yell at people.
Right.
Yeah,
I study a lot of business people because I'm very interested in business and how it works. The guy, Jensen Young, is the guy who runs NVIDIA. And he is much more of like I'm gonna beat you into perfection kind of guy, and I don't resonate with that at all whatsoever. It's just not like he's built an amazing business, but I don't like that. It's not me.
Yeah.
Patagonia, Yvon Chouinard. I read his book a couple years ago, and it's one of the most impactful books I've read in my life. And it's called Let My People Go Surfing, and that's their company policy. So for their corporate headquarters, it's in California. They don't have like a time on, time off, PTO structure. Their structure for how people work is if the waves are nice on Tuesday, go surfing. If the snow is fresh on Thursday, go snowboard. Get your work done, accomplish what you need to do, and create capacity for you to go and like enjoy life and make life much more fluid. And that doesn't work in every business, but I think the sentiment is there that it's like
it's the culture that he's created.
Yes.
And like you said, it doesn't mean that we can let our servers go, hit the beach anytime they want to because
Right.
it's going to be a sunny weekend. But it's the culture, and that's what Rob and I try to teach or create is a culture where you can go to work and not be yelled at.
Right.
Or, so
you give
really
people
cool.
freedom to like infuse themselves into
Right.
the place where they work instead
Yeah.
of being told, here's exactly how you do everything. Because like that works for some people, but I don't know. I think there's a magic in that like camaraderie that it creates, where you invite everyone in to like put their fingerprints on what you're making.
There's definitely been there's been like this when we said, okay, when we open and we've got this, we're gonna have an open door policy, and if you need to talk about something, we're here. And it took a while for people to come and talk, and finally I can't remember what it was, but talking to this one employee, we're like, why wouldn't you come? Because nobody's ever listened before. And so it was okay. And so, I mean, we've just tried to be very transparent with things, and we've made mistakes, but we've owned up to those mistakes, and we've sat down with the entire staff on the ones that we're not going to hide this from you. We made a mistake.
Yeah.
And this is what we did, and we own up to it. And if the apology is not good enough, then we completely understand. But I think, being honest with people goes a super long way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Super
And
long way.
I'm trying to think if there's a time where someone said we have an open door policy. Now, granted, I have not had a long history of jobs. I've had very few jobs, but to say to somebody, we are here to listen to you for whatever you have going on in the building or out of the building. If you're struggling, let us know. And I think that has been we have seen that to be very positive in the last 5 years with Helen and now with Bayonet. many people will take us up on that, because how can they do their job during the scheduled time if something so big is looming over them? Let us know. Let us help you work through it. Do you need resources? Do you need time off? Whatever it is. And I think that that goes a long way with people, to know that you can listen, and just, we may not have the answers. We might need to take some time and ask around, but we want to help. You know.
Yeah, and no, you can't go surf any day you want to, because the waves are good in the restaurant business. But
also, we're in Birmingham. There are no waves.
I don't know.
Maybe
East Lake's supposed to be pretty good, I think.
Sure.
But, but no, like we do. If you've been there for a year, you get 10 days of PTO, and we have a personal day policy. If you call and say, I've got to have a personal day, there's no questions asked. You have that personal day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't count against your PTO. It doesn't
you don't need
count
to know.
against your sick leave. You also get 5 days of paid sick leave if you go to the doctor and you come back with a note. And so and we encourage people to do those things and take advantage of it. And we're trying to work more of 48 to 45 hours a week.
Yeah.
And in which case, a lot of back of house are on a 4-day work week because of that.
Yeah.
Which they love.